Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Comics Morte, episode 66, Werewolves, with, of course, one of our friends of the show and returning guest, as always, because he just loves to make time for us. Gary,
That's right. Thank you for having me back. I love the topic. Now, I wasn't clear. So
so
Jason's
broad.
going to show up late,
Yeah,
probably, or
Jason.
something?
Yeah,
Okay.
Jason's gonna try to show up later. He's got some things going on where he was going on to other people's show. So awesome
Yes.
about that.
Cool.
And then we got Chase. What's up, Chase?
Chase, how's it going, man?
And Chase, I really got to message you sometime because you've been a fan of the show too, and it would just be great to get you on at some point to talk about a topic.
I would like to see Chase on. I would like to see Chase doing the shows. So
yeah,
all the
for
shows.
sure.
So, yeah.
So maybe we do like a broad topic, like maybe vampires or anything like that. We could even talk about that for a long time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so werewolves,
werewolves.
Throughout history, even before movies, you had like the whole folklores of like, the moon at night and all that stuff, like taking place in like Ireland and all those stuff. But werewolves have become a very big part of pop culture, and the 80s especially made it. So, while we get into that, let's talk about one of the best werewolf movies of all time, and then just go down from there. American Werewolf in London.
For sure. I mean, I think arguably the best one. For me, there's like it's a close race, but American Werewolf in London is kind of the best, I think.
Yeah. Not just a storyline, but one of the best transformations.
For sure.
Rick Baker.
Practical.
I think that's his name, Rick Baker, the guy who does the special effects.
I believe he was involved, but I think it was the same guy who was, I think more directly involved was the guy, I'm blanking on his name right now. The guy who, it might have been the guy who did the special effects for The Thing. I'm going to try and pull it up.
I know Rick Baker had some stuff involved with it. I could tell you that.
Yeah,
that I remember.
I want to make sure we're giving credit where credit is due. So special effects, American Werewolf in London. And yeah, you're correct. Rick Baker. I thought it could also have been, and again, I'm blanking on his name, the guy who was behind The Thing and The Howling, but I guess not. So it was like Rob Bodkin or something like that. That was the other guy. But yeah, Rick Baker, phenomenal. I think to date, still the best transformation scene in a werewolf movie.
Oh yeah, because it's one of those things.
Now going on 40 years ago.
Yeah, of course, because it's one of those things like with a lot of werewolf transformations, even now today, where they use a lot of CGI.
Yeah,
they don't go into the depth of how painful the transformation is. Sure, they kind of did that a little bit with we'll get into it, Underworld, with the chest cavity expanding and everything with CGI, but literally, I would show a screenshot, but I don't know how YouTube handles like pictures of like movies.
I don't know.
Yeah, but just him looking at his hand, and the hand is like literally stretching to this far.
That iconic scene where, because that's where at first he's racked with pain and he knows something is happening, and he gets hot, he tears all his clothes off, and then he looks, that's where he first sees it on his hand, where this like section gets just longer and longer and longer, because it's like it's turning. So the for those who haven't seen American Werewolf in London, first of all, you should just absolutely go see it. But
yeah, for sure.
And this is not a spoiler. The creature, you got to figure there's at least two main categories of werewolf in pop culture. There's the bipedal, that stands up on 2 feet and walks like a person. And then there's the more like wolf-like, like 4 feet, like you'd see in Twilight or, like whatever, things like that. And American Werewolf in London is that type. But it doesn't look like a wolf. You would never confuse it for a wolf.
The way its face looks,
yeah, like a weird demon bear dog thing. It's like it looks,
Mhm.
it's very strange. But anyway, like the transformation is mostly his body having to twist into a shape that will walk on all fours.
Mhm.
So some of it is his hands getting like having to kind of twist into paws, basically, and it looks gnarly, and it
Yeah, it
still
does.
looks great to this day. Like it looks, still would argue, and I'm not just saying this because I'm old school and I like practical effects. I still think it looks way better than any CG transformation, only
Mhm.
because I think there's just, you can, as good as CG is now, maybe now today you could do a great job of it, but almost up to now, it's just not good enough to convince you that's a physical thing there. Like, you know, that that's a real thing that light is bouncing off of that looks like something you could touch. And the
Yeah.
practical effects, like
I was gonna say they got some toy versions of it, but if people have never seen the movie, I don't wanna spoil it.
Wolf of Snow Hollow. Oh, I'd be curious about that.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
I hadn't even heard of that. The last one I saw was oh my god, I'm probably getting the name wrong. It was something like Werewolf Among Us or
Mhm.
something like that. It was like kind of murder mystery-ish. It's sort of like what Chase is saying, but in some little tiny town up north, where people are getting kind of picked off one by one, and they
Yeah.
figure someone in town is a werewolf, but they don't know who. It's
Mhm.
sort of a dark comedy. It was pretty good. It wasn't. It was fine. It doesn't compete for like top three spot, you know, but it was okay. The
I
American
think
Werewolf
I
in London is
yeah.
great. It's gruesome as hell. It's
Yeah, it is.
really funny. Like, and that's the thing that I think helps is like it's not campy funny. It actually like is a very like straight dark humor
Yeah.
throughout, you know, that doesn't take away from like the horror elements.
Yeah, I'm gonna just show a
Um,
little close up of the creature's face.
yeah.
Let me see. Right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the yeah, that was either like one of the props or maquettes or something like that. Yeah,
Mhm.
but it looks crazy. It looks
Yeah, it
really
does.
wild. Yeah. I'm pulling up an image for later too. You reminded me if I wanted to show one of my favorite werewolves, so I want to get an
Yeah.
image for it. But yeah, no, it's
Awesome.
great. Great soundtrack, great
Mhm.
script. Like it's just it's really really solid. And it's, you know, there aren't many movies you can say this about, but it's never boring. Like
No.
it, you know, it
Of
just
course,
it
no.
moves, and when it's not scary, it's funny. When it's not funny, it's really like good, interesting drama. When there's not that,
Yeah.
there's great character work. Like it just delivers.
Mhm.
Totally, wholeheartedly recommend.
Not
Um,
just that with but with the transformation. I like, there's other movies that kinda went off of this, but the whole, like, whoever the werewolf kills, that person will come back as, like, a spirit to haunt them. I always like that concept.
yeah, that was a neat idea. So that's another thing. This is not a huge spoiler, but
Hmm.
one of, well, I won't specify who, but one of a werewolf's victims
Yeah.
uh, is killed early on in the movie and continues to like come back. This is a 40-year-old
Yes.
movie. I shouldn't worry about spoiling it, but the reason I'm worried about it is because it's so good, it's worth going in kind of pure, you know.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
I'll agree
anyway,
with
so
that.
early on, someone is killed by a werewolf, and the idea is whoever the last werewolf in the line is, like this victim will appear to them, I guess sort of as like a specter, but they continue to decompose just like in real time, like they would. So when
Mhm.
he first sees him, he's very fresh and slashed up and bloody. And then he sees him a little bit later and he's kind of gray and starting to rot. And he continues to get more and more rotten as the movie goes on,
Yeah, I
which
like
is
that.
amazing special effects again.
Mhm.
Really, really horrible to look at, but at the same time also played kind of for laughs. Like it's
Mhm.
sort of funny because like the guy is very aware that he looks like hell, and
Yeah.
you know he's, you know, it kind of makes it sort of funny when, you know, the main character turns around and there's this basically like a zombie character standing there ready to talk to him about the fact that, you know, he needs to do the right thing. But
Some critics were really hard on the film by saying it 19.
oh,
Interesting.
Wolf. Yeah, I saw trailers for Wolf. I couldn't tell like
Mm-hmm.
what I was looking. Yeah, it sounds interesting.
Yeah.
The trailer is super interesting for that for
Mm-hmm.
Wolf.
So, you want to go off with what's your one of your picks?
Well,
I mean, I
sure.
knew the first one it was going to be both of our picks. That's number one.
Yeah, that
Pretty
one. Yeah,
much.
no, that is. I mean, we might as well start big, and then at some point we should talk about the classics. But I'm going
Oh,
to
of
switch
course.
to like if you've asked me over the course of my life, what's your favorite werewolf movie? Um, it would have bounced back and forth. I still think American Werewolf in London is probably the champ,
Yeah.
but depending on the day you caught me, depending
Mm-hmm.
on the year you caught me, I might have said The Howling. The
Yeah, that's another
Howling
one.
is a very, very good one. First of all, another tremendous practical effect transformation,
Oh
several
yeah.
transformation sequences.
Mm-hmm.
Really neat, creepy story. Now, that one is not funny at all. That one is
No.
played as straight horror. Basically, this doesn't really spoil anything, but there's like a commune of werewolves up in the woods.
Yeah.
They basically live as people, but they've embraced the fact that they're werewolves.
Mm-hmm.
They transform. Sometimes they infect other people to add to their group. It has a very much like a culty. Actually, I'd be interested. I don't know if Jason's seen it. If he hasn't, he should. If he has, I'd be curious. Like, to me, it has very much like a cult metaphor to it.
Yeah.
Like, you have this group of people, they're trying to pull some people in, they're trying to eject other people, like they're preying on like the normies out there. It's got that kind of angle to it. Really, really good. And I have to say, visually, probably my favorite werewolf design
Yeah.
in any movie. Like, I love the look of those werewolves the most. I like
Mm-hmm.
American Werewolf in London as a movie way better, but I kind of have to go with the Howling Werewolves.
Yeah, because they're standing on their hind legs.
Yeah, they're on their hind legs. They're huge. They're like 7 feet tall. They have these long ears and very wolfy kind of faces, but then like long fingers and talons. Like they're very cool looking. So that would be my like runner up for sure.
You got a picture of the show, or is that
not of that
another
one?
one?
That's a later one. I'm gonna save.
Gotcha.
It'll be my closing remarks. But
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
What about you? What would be another one?
Another one? Well, it's kind of hard because it's like you got werewolves, but then you got a big debate. Like, which one's better? Werewolves versus the Wolfman. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They're both lichens, but people have their own opinions. It's like, oh, I love werewolves better. Some people are like, no, I love the Wolfman designs better.
Yeah. I did enjoy the Wolfman design of the remake, with Benicio del Toro.
Oh yeah, that was a great design there.
I really liked it. I liked it was a very solid modern update of the classic Universal, like long.
If I'm not mistaken, Rick Baker had some work in that. I want to double check that.
Yeah, I think he does. Yeah. And he did. And it was a shame because it was one of those movies, kind of like the Thing prequel, where it was gonna be almost all practical, but then they're like, well, we need to do some of it CG. And unfortunately, like, it's a mixed bag. Some of it still looks very good, even though it's CG. Some of it isn't great, but they did an homage to American Werewolf in London where they wanted to do a fully lit transformation sequence. Look at that.
What's up, buddy? Hey.
How's it going? Sorry, I'm late.
Good.
No problem. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, no, go for it. What's next?
We were talking about American Werewolf in London. Then we went to The Howling. Did you ever watch The Howling?
Nope.
I think you should. You might find some gems, some nuggets in The Howling.
Because The Howling, like he was saying, like the werewolves kind of have like a cult-like base to it, going on infecting people.
It felt very cult metaphor to me, So. But I'd be curious for an expert's take on.
Yeah. Hey, yo, I am. That's where I've been. I had to. There was cult duty, and if it's cult talk, duty calls. Like this is like my Clark Kent reporter. Then I have to go back to go do the other thing later. You know.
Right.
We were talking about Del Toro's Wolfman. Did you ever see that one?
No, that's the most recent one. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah,
it's just solid.
Yeah,
I haven't honestly. I haven't seen much. Like, yes, I've seen American Werewolf in London. Mostly, I remember in parts, but obviously for the transformation. But the classic Wolfman and the Michael Landon, like I've seen those, but a lot of it is still kind of like I remember more about the True Blood werewolves than I remember about other things.
Well, the Howling, I mean, this will be a great recommendation list for you tonight. Howling is a good place to start. To respond to Keith, I loved Brotherhood of the Wolf.
Yeah,
I thought it was great.
Exactly.
I don't know if it counts. Like for spoilery reasons, I don't know if it counts. But I love it. It was one of the weirdest, coolest movies I'd ever seen. It's like a costume drama French kung fu werewolf movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's the strangest movie that I think one of the strangest I've ever seen. Entertaining beginning to end. Like I would highly recommend. Yeah.
All right.
Another one I would like if I had to build my top 3, American Werewolf and The Howling. I don't love the design of the monster. That's the one weak link of this movie, but everything else I love about it. Silver Bullet, Stephen King's Silver Bullet.
Okay, I've seen Silver Bullet. Yes. Yeah, that was a cool movie.
But the monster design was horrible. It was horrible, but the movie was good.
The costume's terrible. The costume looks like you rented a bear suit.
Yeah, it's like a werebear.
It's okay because it's a story. But
the story is so good, and you only really see how bad the suit is in the very last scene.
Yep.
Everything else they do a good job of hiding it, probably because their suit is such crap.
They have one
through the whole movie, it's very like Jaws-y, where you never get a clear look, which works a lot better.
Yeah.
The transformation sequences are pretty good.
Yeah.
That's all. Like a lot of times, that's what these werewolf movies that's a big part. Like, how's the transformation? Pretty good.
Right.
But the final transformed design looks bad. Looks real bad.
Right.
I don't know what the deal was.
But
especially for a Stephen King movie.
Yeah,
the transformation is what gets you. Like, because it's like, there's a scary werewolf. Like, you could become a Frankenstein, but you would have already been dead. And be like Dracula is a different thing. He was not ever a human. Like he's like the ultimate evil. But to become a werewolf, you have to understand like a person's body transforming. And that's like when vampire movies really became a little bit more connective too, is when they talked about how when a person got turned, how it changed their bodies.
Yes. And that's why I think, I don't know. I think that's why. So werewolves were always, even from when I was a little boy, like my favorite, 100% of all the monsters. And it was something about that idea. It was something about a normal good person can turn into a monster and then turn back, which, different from Dracula, who's just bad because he wants to be. Different from Frankenstein, who's sort of like a moron. Like, it doesn't realize what he's doing. Like, this is someone who could be good by day, and then they change, and, like, they do things that they feel terrible about when they change back. That was it. It's why I loved werewolves. It's why I loved the Hulk, because it was kind of that same, same thing. It's kind of why I was into, like, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde when I was a kid. Like, I liked that idea of someone getting, like, overcome.
It's the release. Like, it's the release. It's like writing the release in slow motion, like so slow motion where you can like dominate your space around you, but you're still you.
Right.
Now, I got to get this out of my system, and I won't do it again for a month. Just like give me a day. Just give me one day.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Right. Yes. No. Totally. That's what I always loved about when I was a kid. And the Thriller video came out,
Yeah.
First of all, I thought that transformation was totally awesome. And I thought it was so cool. That opening, I can watch those opening few minutes of the Thriller video 1,000 times. Like it just never gets old to me. And even though like is it a werewolf? It's more like a weird
He's like a wildcat. He's like
a werepanther or something. But no matter what, like the design looks awesome.
So bad.
Like so cool.
With the varsity jacket.
Like, varsity jacket and like the talons, like these talons on his hand, and like just the whole face. It looked awesome.
It's so good. Yeah.
When I saw it as a kid, I was like, this is everything I like about werewolves. This idea of like, it's this nice kid and all of a sudden, oh no, he turns into a monster. Now he's going to eat his girlfriend.
Yeah. And he loses control. At least a vampire has like aware of what they're doing.
But then I watched it recently, like the past few years as a grown up. Like he has a calendar. Like he knows when he's going to change.
Yeah, you are. Exactly. Yep.
He absolutely pulled her out there to eat her. Like that. So it's a whole different.
Going to get one girl every month. I won't even stay in the same town.
Yeah, I'll just move along. Yeah, right.
Just make it a mystery.
Yeah. So it has a totally different vibe when you're watching it as a rational adult. As a kid, you're like, oh, poor Michael.
And then at the very end, like when he reveals his like monster eyes, like that's like, okay, here's confirmation. I'm aware that I was a monster. This was not something that overtook me.
Right. There's a lot of good, by the way, if you're into old school makeup, a lot of good making of videos of the Thriller video. Like was showing them how they made this whole apparatus, like for his transformation and everything. But what is this? I think so. I think it's a pretty, that's a good question. I think it's a pretty extreme concept.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a Friday the 13th or a Nightmare on Elm Street where you kind of have to wink at the audience once in a while because it's so like on its face, it's so dumb. And like, you know, like,
yeah.
To play it, and I think that's why The Howling is sort of my second favorite because it plays it straight all the way through. Now, with there's one or two little moments where it's a little winky, but otherwise they play it like totally straight, and it makes it very dour, you know, like, and because then all you really have are like monsters eating people for 2 hours. Like it's kind of this grim, bleak, like you kind of have to have, I don't know. I think there's something about that premise where you have to do something a little light, a little goofy with it just to make it work.
I haven't seen all of it. I haven't seen a lot of it, to be honest. But I'm aware of how good it is, but it's not my scene. But Sons of Anarchy could totally be a werewolf show. They just never filmed the part where they're werewolves. And I think that I'm aware that show is probably the best werewolf story that you will ever get.
Without a werewolf. Yeah.
Without a werewolf.
Yeah.
So, you know, at that point, I don't know. It's like...
Well, I've never watched this, but I would imagine Dexter is probably sort of a werewolf show without a werewolf.
Sure, exactly. It's like it's the release story. Like
it's the story about like I'm gonna I'm gonna pick my time and place, and I'm gonna let myself off the leash. You know,
it's pretty funny because I can't remember what movie it is, but there is a movie where you have these bikers who are like a group of werewolves. So
yeah, like True Blood. In True Blood, they were bikers.
Oh, were they really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's probably what I was thinking of.
No, but there's a B movie.
Yes, Hellboy with fur, totally.
Hellboy with fur. There is some B movie that's something about like it's like a werewolf biker gang, and I don't remember what it's called, like the name, but it's a very B movie, so the name is something like that. Yeah, it's something like Werewolves on Hogs or something stupid, you know, but like that's basically what it is.
Right.
And and then there's two movies that come to mind that were really like how Chase was saying with the comedy feel to it.
Yep.
But the transformation was still cool. And it's one of those movies like where it had like monsters versus teenagers. And of course, Scott Circlin, he's not here that helped us talk about it. The Monster Squad, you know, Great movie.
Another cursed werewolf character. Another
Yes.
person who, when he was human, he was fine.
Yeah.
You know, like, and very conflicted about, you know, yeah. But then, like, once it took over, like, he would just do whatever.
But in there, it had the comedy feel to it. It's like, you know, when the kid kicked him in the balls, it's like Wolfman has nards, you know.
That movie, by the way, like, I rewatched it a few years ago. I think probably from interacting with Scott, I was like, I want to watch that again because I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
Yeah,
and it's I mean, that's that era when PG was a different kind of PG.
Yeah, where
like,
it should have been classified PG-13, but it wasn't.
Or maybe it's like, how is it like almost an R? Like, I mean, especially when like they blow the werewolf up with a stick of dynamite.
Yes, they blow him up with dynamite.
Parts, like, because it's not silver, like all his parts kind of find each other and like he re-knits himself together.
Yeah,
like,
but that's what I thought was cool.
This is a movie for kids. Like, I mean, this is really gnarly.
But that was like one of the few movies that actually show that even though you blow him up, his pieces still come back together. It has to be a silver bullet.
Yeah,
that's what I thought was really cool about that movie.
Actually immortal, which segue for anyone who's interested in like weird pulp horror fiction. I read this book. I pulled it out of my bookshelf in preparation for this.
Oh, nice
Mark
cover.
of the Werewolf, Jeffrey Sackett. This was published, I'm sure it was like in the 80s. Let me see here. I read it when I was basically 1990. Okay, so it's 32 years old.
Yeah.
But the premise, it's the same basic idea but this one goes one step further. Not only will nothing kill a werewolf, like not even silver will kill a werewolf. Like a werewolf is immortal and unkillable until it can do one particular kind of thing. And that's what this whole book is about. And the main
drink a Crystal Pepsi.
What's that?
I said drink a Crystal Pepsi.
That should do it. It should do it.
Right.
But
it's from the 90s. I figure, you know, it would have a good product placement.
Yeah.
So the idea, and this doesn't spoil anything, this terrorist group manages to trap themselves a werewolf. And the hope is to infect everybody in their terrorist group so they have like a little army of werewolves. It's a very pulpy concept, but look, this isn't high fiction, but it's so much fun. It's a great just pulp werewolf novel. But anyway, they capture this werewolf and they can't sample his blood or his DNA because he's just unpierceable. They can't they're trying to figure out, and he's refusing to infect any of their terrorist clans. So they're trying to figure out how to work with him. So like they're trying to figure out, well, how did you get infected? And he doesn't remember because he's been alive so long that like the idea is like the human brain isn't built to remember anything more than like a few hundred years. So like his memory gets foggy. It's like somewhere in the 1700s. He doesn't remember like what happened before that. So they start doing like hypnotherapy with him to try to like get back further. And it turns out he's like 3,000 years old. And they keep getting all these stories of him being a werewolf just wandering through human history. You know, it's really cool. And I love this like idea of like, well, what if a werewolf really was unkillable? What would that look like? It's a really cool book. Like I highly recommend that. Another one, while I'm doing reading lists, check out Sharp Teeth. I should have pulled it out. Sharp Teeth is a werewolf book that was published, I'm thinking just about 10 years ago. And it's about this is kind of like the biker thing, rival packs or gangs of werewolves in LA. And one gang or pack totally annihilates the other, and all the survivors just kind of scatter into the city and try to like, they either turn into humans to like lay low, or when they are transformed, they look very much like kind of big wolves or weird scary dogs. Some of them just transform and try and pass as just like a dog, and they'll like find someone to adopt them and they'll just hang out in somebody's house like waiting for like the right time.
What a horrible reality.
So good. So good, like Sharp Teeth by I think it's Toby Barlow.
Okay,
so
there's also too just shout out there, like maybe with Moon Knight now, and we're getting into more like supernatural things with Marvel. Maybe we'll actually see a Werewolf by Night, cameo or appearance. Cool. Who knows?
Cool. But, or what was who was like it was like Mary Jane's fiance turned into, was it like Man Wolf or something? There was like a weird Marvel character where like he was an astronaut. They got infected by some weird moon disease that turned him into a werewolf.
Yeah. Well, you got that. I was gonna say, well, you got also that XMen character, the female from X Factor, like in the recent movie New Mutants, she turned into a pure wolf.
Oh, I don't know that one.
No, I'm not up on a lot of the X-Men stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm rusty on. I have to admit I haven't really read an X-Men comic since I was 16 years old or something. Like I
when I was a kid, I fell in love with the X-Men because this kid let me borrow a X-Men versus the Brood comic. Like it was like 1992. I was in 7th grade.
Yeah,
and it was like that was like my first taste of like visual horror in comics because it was it was the Brood. But anyway, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Years later, I give my wife goes to the free shack at the dump near where we lived, and she got James a bundle of comics, and that same comic was in that bundle. And it was like, it's funny how like that just kind of just gifted itself back, like right around the time where I'm like starting to like experience this side of my creativity. So
yeah,
gotcha.
Samurai werewolf movie.
That sounds pretty cool.
Oh man,
I like
that
sounds
cool. Okay, now
we need a werewolf western. Like, why hasn't that happened?
Right. It probably has. We just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
But besides Silver, and not a lot of movies go into this, but some TV shows do. How like besides Silver Bullet, Wolfsbane, the plant is also a weakness. Like you see some movies like what is it? I know, oh man. If you guys ever seen the TV show Grimm, they kind of had that premise with the werewolf creatures, like Wolfsbane would be able to kill them. But yeah, I kind of like Silver Bullet more instead of like a plant that you have to find in the middle of nowhere.
Right, that nobody can recognize, and
yeah,
and then how are you gonna walk up and hold it in his face? Like, what are you gonna do? Yeah, so it's it's risky business.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm gonna share a picture of another favorite werewolf. Let's see here. Hold on here. Let me know if you've got that.
I see a man.
Yeah, that's so just go ahead and put it up. So Josh Kemble.
Yep.
Josh Kemble.
I thought that was Josh.
You can't tell me a normal human being can grow a beard like that.
Right.
Like that is a lycanthrope if I've ever seen one.
That's a Wolfman.
I'm not judging. You should buy his comic. It's fantastic.
Oh man,
Jacob's Apartment and the second part of 2 Stories coming out soon. Ask your local comic book seller.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. Watch Artcasters, but 100% a fucking werewolf. Like, come on. Look at that beard, people. Look at that beard.
100% Wolfman.
It's outrageous. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So here's I loved Teen Wolf 2 as a kid.
Teen Wolf 2.
Teen Wolf was fun, but man, I love Teen Wolf 2. Like Teen Wolf 2 I felt like that was like the coolest movie in the world. And then I'm like trying to watch it again. I'm like,
it is terrible. That is the movie that cocaine made. Like that is such a bad movie.
The TV show was actually a little bit darker.
What's that?
The Teen Wolf TV show was actually
The TV
much
show was
darker.
darker. Yeah, no, the Jason Bateman movie is horrible. So bad.
It was so good.
So bad. But I mean, if you're a kid, I could see like it being cool, you know, but just like the original Teen Wolf.
It had Francis from Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah.
He was on like the boxing team.
Yeah.
It was a really douchey bad guy. Like it had everything I wanted. Like it was top notch, but it is not. It's not a nostalgia. It's not like watching Back to the Future now.
You can't revisit it.
Chase, I would say it's more like a werewolf.
That is.
Or werewolf.
I always thought he was more like a lion. Like
I thought it was like a lion thing, but he had horns too.
Yeah, that's right.
I remember. You remember the CBS TV show? Did you guys watch that? Beauty and the Beast
with Ron Perlman.
Yeah, that was so good.
That was great.
Ron Perlman and Linda Hamilton.
That's right, Linda Hamilton. That's right.
Yeah,
it was such a good story. I watched that little girl get pulled out of that well while Beauty and the Beast was on, and I remember saying, like, "Why did they shrink the screen like for this little girl to get pulled out as well?" I just want to see what Vince does.
Forgot. Wow, that goes back. The girl
that goes way far.
Yup. I think her name was Jessica. Yup.
That's crazy.
It was like two. They split the screen.
I know. It was round the clock news.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Like that was the most important thing in America for days and days.
Imagine what a simple time.
Right?
It's like living in a
just a girl in a well.
Yeah, just a girl stuck in a well. She's not gonna die. Like it's
hey America.
That was a small well, though.
Pay attention to this.
Wow. I had forgotten 100% forgotten about that.
Yeah, no.
But now I totally remember. That's kind of like that. The sequel to that was The Kid in the Balloon. Do you remember that? But he then wasn't actually in the balloon.
He wasn't in a balloon. He was like in the basement or something.
The dad was like, he's in the balloon, and the dad was a piece of shit or something. Yeah, I know. It's something like that. I don't remember.
The dad was total like early 2000s like lame sauce.
Yeah. He was just like, he was trying to go viral before viral was a thing.
That's funny, Chase.
Wow.
That's good.
Yeah,
for sure. And so let's get into another werewolves, but of course we're going to more like a sci-fi action, the Underworld werewolves.
Yes.
That
that was a pretty cool movie.
Yeah.
That was like Blade werewolves.
And they look cool. They look. I like how they look.
Yeah. The transformations, yes, they were CGI, but I like the fact that you were able to see how the rib cages were like literally breaking and reforming. Yeah. Really great.
Yeah, I love the bone breaking. Like I don't know. I didn't always know what it was, but I guess I do like some body horror. Like that's what like good werewolf for me like has to do now. Like I gotta see it, especially in movies.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
You can set a mood with a comic, like you can set a mood with writing, but like if you got ability for special effects, I want to see it.
Yeah, not a bunch of weird quick cuts and.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that was the big bummer about. I was real excited when. I don't know if many people remember this one. The movie Wolf with Jack Nicholson.
I remember the movie. Yeah.
And Michelle Pfeiffer and James Spader, I think.
Yeah.
And it was like big budget werewolf with like a movie with a amazing cast. And so I thought, I'm excited about this. And it was good, except there was no meaningful makeup or transformation. Like Jack Nicholson as a werewolf basically had like sideburns and like teeth. That was basically like they did minimal, they really didn't do anything. And that was a little bit of a bummer. Like I'm like you, if I'm seeing a werewolf movie, I think there has to be a little bit of that body horror thing.
Yep.
There needs it's about the transformation. Like I want to see and I want like those effects to be impeccable. It's the main reason. There are lots of reasons, but the main reason I thought American Werewolf in Paris was just trash was like the transformation was terrible. The effects were terrible. Like it just looked, especially following up American Werewolf in London, like one of the best werewolf movies of all time. It looked so bad. It looked like college students' first pass at a CG werewolf.
Yeah.
You know, it just looked really cheesy and crude. Which was a bummer.
For sure. There is a movie that I really like. I don't know if you guys ever seen it. I just like the fact because you got to really get to know the characters and all stuff like that. But have you guys ever heard of Dog Soldiers?
Yes. I was going to bring up Dog Soldiers. Dog Soldiers
is a great movie. Great werewolf designs. Just, all around. Just, I recommend people to see it because it's just a great movie.
Yeah, that's another one. If you want to start digging into like the best werewolf movies, director.
I knew I liked you, Carrie.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, no, it is weird. And Chase Wolf, my memory of it, I haven't seen it since it was in theaters. I remember it being really good. Like, I mean, a really fun, interesting movie. It's just had no, like, if a big part of your werewolf, what you look for in a werewolf movie, are effects and like the creature design and all that, you're not going to get that.
Well, they were planning to do more, but Jack Nicholson, he didn't want to have his face covered.
He didn't want to be all covered up. Yeah. So it really is like they seriously, they gave him like sideburns and a beard and like teeth. It's more minimal even than the old Universal werewolf. Like there's hardly anything to it, you know, where he looks human enough where if he combed his hair, he could walk down the street and no one would look at him funny. Like, I mean, it just wasn't, it was very mild, very, very mild. But if you set that aside, it was really good. Good story, good performances, like everything else was great. It was just not much for creature design. Same with, this goes way back. Wolfman. I don't know if anyone remembers that one.
Wolfman sounds so familiar. No, it's the
Wolf. That's more of like a skinwalker werewolf kind of thing.
Oh, is Wolfman the one where like the person is opening their mouth and you have the wolf mouth coming out of it?
No, I think that's I know which one you're talking about, and I don't remember. Wolfman was one where there's a detective. I think it's also set in LA. He's hunting what he thinks is a serial killer, but the victims look like they were attacked by an animal. It's very like, you know, so it kind of becomes like this like murder mystery thing, but with maybe a kind of a werewolf thing.
Yeah.
But that, I remember I saw that too young. We had cable when I was a kid. I saw it on HBO. And this doesn't spoil anything, but there's an element where they talk about if you're decapitated quickly enough, you might have a few seconds of consciousness before you wink out. And there's one scene where someone gets decapitated by the werewolf, the monster, and you see his head sitting on the ground there, and you see his mouth moving and his eyes kind of bulging. Like you could tell he's still kind of there. That was that mind-blowing concept when I was like 11 years old. And horrifying. That was a terrible idea.
That was pretty intense.
That was really upsetting and disturbing. But
I found what that movie was.
What
the movie I was talking about?
I remember the cover.
The Company of Wolves.
Company of Wolves. That's it. Yeah.
But it was just such a weird transformation. Like I'll just, of course, you know, this is not for kids, so I'll just bring up the image just because it just stuck with me because you never seen a transformation like that.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Which similar transformations were in, there was a TV series, Werewolf, in the 80s. Yeah. Do you remember that?
A little bit.
That was actually a really good show. It got canceled, but while it lasted, it was a lot of fun. Yeah. Yeah, they it becomes like a skin suit that they sort of slough off.
Yeah, look at that.
It's messed up. It's very weird. Even though I don't think it's a great movie, Van Helsing also did a similar thing where like the werewolf sort of burst out of the flesh.
Mhm.
Like, you know, like they kind of grow and expand, and the flesh kind of tears off almost like the
But
whole.
he was, yeah, because he was shredding. Like I liked one part in that movie where he was scratching against the skin, ripping it off like it's just a, you know, a shirt.
And there's fur underneath. Yeah, like, and then like when they change back, they shrink down and all the fur falls off, you know, and it's this weird kind of like shedding.
Look, they regenerate like they're little, they're like little like stacked dolls.
Oh, it's his cat.
My cat is screaming. I'm gonna carry on.
That or there's a ghost.
All right.
Yeah.
But you know, Jason, you got another one that really comes to mind to you?
No, like I said, like werewolves, like I know a little bit about. I know a little bit about a lot of things, but most of what I know is just like little quick hit stuff. Like,
yeah.
But no, it's like I don't know. It's good to hear you guys talk about movies that I might want to pop on.
Yeah, I've seen so many horror movies.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, I was watching more horror movies than I was cartoons.
Yeah.
But just, yeah, let me think of another one that comes to mind. But, you know, we talked about it with Universal, but, you know, just the classic Universal Wolfman movie, you know, that movie alone just was such a big impact for werewolves back then.
He really wants to be on the show tonight. He's like, and I keep calling him over, but he doesn't want to. I don't know. He wants something.
I like it. Cats are all different. Like I like. We have a tiny little dog, but like my cat's personality is entertaining.
Yeah. No, they're great. They're great, but they're brats. You know, they
definitely
decide they want something, and you know,
the world stops.
It's like a baby. It's like a baby where it's like, what do you want? You want food? You want to be held? What is it? You know, and they just whine.
I want Spider-Man. Okay, so check this out. Like I have toyed, and I feel like it probably couldn't. I have to look into if I was ever going to do it, but I did like a high school horror Peter Parker where he's given his spider powers from this like relic that he steals at school. Mm-hmm. And he goes through pretty much like what Jeff Goldblum went through, but it's at school.
Oh, nice.
Like where it's like the super weird transformation, and he might like sneeze webbing, and stuff like that to make him like even more like repulsive to the other kids.
Yeah,
and it just kind of leads to him like pretty much taking over the school, but like as a like man spider.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like I don't know. I always felt like that was like a really awesome, like different Spider-Man reality, kind of like what Chase was talking about.
Totally. Gosh, now you just got me thinking about The Fly. That's one of my all-time favorites. Like
it's so good. Yeah.
It's another movie I can watch 1,000 times. I don't care.
But it's good. Like if you're talking about werewolves, like you're talking about this is movies. Like you're talking about the transformation. Like that's what sticks out. Yeah. And when we talk about like werewolf,
and a good man changing into a bad thing.
Like The Fly, yeah.
Yeah, you know, I mean, that was definitely in The Fly.
If I'm not...
The Fly is like, I don't know. I mean, it's funny you bring it up because just the other day I was thinking like people don't talk about The Fly enough. Like The Fly is just such a great horror movie, you know.
Yes, it is.
It aged well too. Like I've started it here recently, and it's like it's pretty sound. It really is.
It's solid. It's a good script. It's really fun to watch.
Yeah, top to bottom. Yep.
And Jeff Goldblum is like peak Jeff Goldblum in that movie. Everyone thinks about Jurassic Park, but like no, like that was like the definitive Jeff Goldblum, where he's just at his full height, the height of his powers.
That was like the victory tour.
He's super weird. He's super witty. Like he's perfect for that part. So.
Yeah, but like long-term Jeff Goldblum, Gina Davis,
she's still a very attractive woman. Don't get me wrong, but people forget how smoking hot she was.
Yeah,
Oh my God. Like you can
with
see
that
why
and
they started seeing each
yeah.
other. Like if you had to work with her, you'd be like, we're running away together for sure.
Yeah, and it's like then it's like we need them together again. So you get like Earth Girls Are Easy.
Yeah. It's like I mean, I'm sure he was like, I'll take any job with her. Like I don't care. Like
yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
You'll give me money also. I'm there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember. I seen it. Me and my wife watched it a while back. It's a werewolf movie. It takes place the year, what was it, 1991, and it's called Mom. Like literally, this old woman invites basically what it is that this old woman, she's having a room up for someone to live in, and this strange man comes in, bites her, and she starts slowly becoming a werewolf.
Nah.
And it's crazy. Like the transformations are good, but like it's crazy seeing an old woman like changing into like a werewolf. But it was a really good movie.
Interesting. No, I don't know that one. I'm scanning Rotten Tomatoes 20 essential werewolf movies to see if there's some obvious thing we should have talked about and did not. Oh, hey, did you guys see Ginger Snaps?
Yes, I have.
I thought Ginger Snaps was pretty good. Like I had heard for a while, like Ginger Snaps is a great, weird little like female-oriented werewolf movie.
Yeah.
They made some sequels that apparently are garbage. I didn't watch any of the sequels. But like I gave the first one a chance and I thought it was really good. I don't know what your take was, but
I liked it. You know, it was different.
It was different.
There's
none here. We've hit all the highlights here.
So, okay, what's your top 3, Gary? So I can make a list.
American Werewolf in London for sure is number 1. Number 2 is The Howling.
Yep.
And number 3 would be Silver Bullet. I think those. Okay. And if I had to do 4, it would be like Dog Soldiers would probably pop in there as probably the 4th. If I was doing the top 5, I'd probably it'd be a toss up between. It just depends how much I want to recognize the classics. It would be a toss up between the original Wolfman, or Wolfen, which was, I just checked that date, it was 1981, which was just very weird in 80s and kind of cool. Yeah. I don't know if it's not as classic, but it's like it was kind of a fun, I don't know. That's where those are all way behind. Those first 3 are real tight, I think. American Werewolf in London, Howling, The Silver Bullet. Those are way ahead of everything else.
Okay.
And then it's like, I don't know, we can argue about like 4, 5, and 6, but that's why. What would you put as yours? I want to hear everybody's top 3s. What are your top?
I don't think I've seen 3s. I think I've seen like 3. I don't think I've seen enough to rank.
Yeah, yeah. You gotta see. I'd say check out The Howling.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about top 3, but definitely my top 2 would be American Werewolf in London and The Howling.
Yeah,
especially the first one. The sequels got a little bit like crazy. Yeah, it's like it's like you had the cult thing, and then the sequels started coming out. It's like, instead of just having like this cult crazy stuff, now you're going to introduce witches and like
weird. And then I remember
major giant orgies, pretty much
set in Australia with like weird marsupial werewolves. Like the Howling sequels are trash. Don't worry about them. Like you're and it's the Howling is a good standalone. Like you don't need to see the sequels. It's fine.
No, you don't.
Same with American Werewolf in London. Do not watch American Werewolf in Paris. There's no reason. Like it's
exactly.
There's nothing worth seeing there. Silver Bullet, again, very, very strong. And especially if you're a Stephen King fan, it is like dripping with Stephen King. Like it just it feels very Stephen King. But then after that, I don't know, that the Benicio del Toro Wolfman, I thought was good. It wasn't great. But it was good. Anthony Hopkins was clearly having a good time.
But again, it's one of those movies like how sometimes people like, okay, werewolves and wolfman are two different set of species. They shouldn't be included in the same, topic.
Okay.
Some people feel that way.
Yeah, I think it's good. It's good. But I don't, for me personally, like I'm a movie nerd and I collect, I have so many, one of these days I'll tour you guys through my movie collection out in the front room. But like, I didn't like it enough to want to own it. To me, like that's the tier, like I know I loved a movie, but it's like, I got to pick that up on disc,
Gotcha.
And like American Werewolf in London, The Howling, and Silver Bullet, I have to own those. The rest are kind of like, yeah, I can stream it sometime.
And sorry, people. Sorry, go ahead.
Squatchy, I'm just taking a small break from working. Small break, but like just for this show. Just for this show. Then I'm going to be right back to it. Wolf of Snow Hollow. I'm very curious about that now since I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I have to watch that.
Company of Wolves was cool.
I'll throw a comedy out there. My mom's a werewolf. Another movie where a mother goes on a date with a man.
No, I don't know that one either.
Yeah, basically she's married. She basically gets hypnotized almost by this man, and he bites her, and she's slowly becoming a werewolf. So it's a comedy. It's a comedy.
Yeah. Wolf Cop is pretty ridiculous. Chase is coming up with, he's got a good list. Wolf Cop is pretty great. Yeah. I mean, it's not great. It's terrible, but it's fun. Yeah. Like it's kind of ridiculous and fun. I mean, those are all like Chase's list. Like those are solid, those are all very solid choices. Curse. That should be one. Oh, and then the one that was mentioned up earlier, Brotherhood of the Wolf. Like I would, not a werewolf movie, but it's werewolfy. Like there has like a kind of a werewolf, like, so it's definitely, if you're into the whole genre and you want to see everything kind of around it, like definitely check out Brotherhood of the Wolf.
Well, yeah, it's like I would recommend for anybody who likes to see like, the whole Universal Monsters type of thing. I recommend Monster Squad. It's a really good movie.
Yeah, Monster Squad's just a kind of a fun movie.
Yeah.
Like that's also one that I'm kind of surprised they haven't remade.
Yeah.
Just because like I think it's remakeable in the sense that it has a lot of nostalgia appeal. But it's not precious like the Goonies. Like if you remade the Goonies, people would lose their mind. Like they'd be like, "Why are you remaking Goonies?" Because it's like fun. But like Monster Squad, I think you could get away. Like no, people aren't going to lose their minds if you remake They're not going to act like, "Why are you remaking Jaws?" Like I mean, they'd be like, "All right, let's see this." So like, I think that but it's very good. Monster Squad's a lot of fun.
Well, we're exactly at pretty much almost at the hour mark.
Look at that. Chase, we know, will be working on the script for Curse of the Queer Wolf, according to the chat there. Werewolves Within. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. I thought I was going to say Werewolf Among Us. I said Werewolf Among Us, I think. I meant Werewolves Within, which is fun. It's not great. I don't know if I'll ever watch it again, but it's fun. Like it's good. It's good.
Gotcha.
And recent. I think it just came out in the last year or so, year or two.
Yeah.
But it has the girl from the I don't know, the AT&T commercials, the pretty brunette.
And sorry, people, I know there's fans out there who are gonna say, but you guys have been talking about, the other wolves from the teenage movie. No, I'm not really going to talk about that.
That's different.
Oh, from Twilight or whatever?
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about that.
Talking about Twilight.
Yeah. Give me a break. Stop it.
Exactly. Sorry, people.
No, I think Josh Kemble was a better candidate for the werewolf than the Twilight werewolves. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, it's fine that it exists, but it's like it's not in my sphere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's like people are into Twilight, whatever. Yeah. Like that doesn't bother me.
Right.
But I'm just so removed from whatever that target audience is.
Yes.
Like I don't like no.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mermaid thing is under.
I like the mermaids in the lighthouse.
Yeah. Wow. That was creepy and weird. Yeah. Yeah. So his Viking movie is coming out this year, right? Isn't that director Robert Eggers or something?
Yes. Yeah.
So he did The Witch, which I thought was phenomenal. And then he did The Lighthouse, which I thought was phenomenal. And I think now he's got a Viking movie coming out. I think it's done. I think it comes out this year. And the story forever, and this is what I hope this happens. I'm so excited because he'd be perfect to make it. The story is he's been wanting to do a remake of Nosferatu. Ooh. And like him doing Nosferatu, I mean, that just seems like the perfect pairing. You know, like that guy, like I think it would be just really something special. I hope that really is his next project. So
interesting.
Yeah. Well, for anybody who hasn't seen it, this is of course later, much later, but you know, I think Gary has seen it before. I know Jason definitely has it. For anybody, I was like, I was trying to do like werewolf art before I came onto the show, but I'm like, you know what? I actually have some stuff that I did in the past. So, and it was more like not like the werewolf on two legs, but like on the all fours. So
I don't know if I have. I'll know when I see it. But
and it was just fun picking the colors out for it.
Nice. Look at that.
Ah, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Is this is this an upcoming from the upcoming episode? Is this
no, basically I wanted to like just really work on colors. So this is gonna be part of like the series, but definitely not like coming up anytime soon.
Very cool.
Well, but it was just fun like picking out like the 80s colors that you would see and then trying to find a way to make it like terrifying, but not use the typical gray colors. So it was fun.
It totally has Trapper Keeper vibes, like in the best part.
Yeah, it looks cool. It looks great.
Thank you. So we didn't do in the beginning, but you're always our guest. So you start off to talk about what you got going on.
Oh, well, so I'm busy drawing. Squatchy would quibble, but I'm busy drawing the third D versus M 1979. I've got a pile of pages right over here.
I love when the character's in there. He's really funny looking.
You will be making a cameo, or at least your likeness will be making a cameo. A few indie creators will be making a cameo. In fact, that's the page I'm working on. I'm going to finish. I'd like to finish it tomorrow night, but it's where it's most of the cameos. You're going to see a couple recognizable indie creators. So working on that. In the meantime, D vs. M in 1975 and D vs. M 1997 are still sold out. I apologize. I've been talking for a while about a reprint. It's just been dragging my feet. Like,
Squatchy.
Progress is actually, believe it or not,
that's funny.
I'm actually ahead of schedule on drawing 1979. So like it's going well, and the target launch date for D vs. M 1979 is still the very end of the year. End of this year.
You're still shooting for 2022.
I'm really going to try. And you know what? I don't want to indulge this thought too much, but even if I do miss it, it'll be barely. So awesome. Like, I mean, I'm like, progress is good. Like it's going well, barring life happening, you're going sideways on me, should be fine. But like I'm feeling good. I don't want to jinx myself, but I'm feeling good. I'm really excited about the story, and I'm really excited about what it's going to look like. I think it's going to just, my goal with every single D versus M is to take people on a totally, it all is very D versus M, it all has the same feel, but each story is going to be just its own weird adventure, this weird little journey. And I think this one definitely is, it's going to be very D versus M, but it's also going to be very new and fresh and feel weird. And as the third part of the 6-part series, like the midpoint of the series, advances the story in meaningful ways. Like I'm starting to think about, where is this going? The last 3 is really where you're going to start seeing like, okay,
yeah,
like we're going someplace. But this is kind of, we're sort of laying groundwork with these first 3. And the last 3, it's all going to come to fruition. But
if it's half as good as either of the first 2, it'll be well worth it. I can't wait.
For sure.
Well, thank you. I feel really good about it. It's just now, like, and Squatchy knows better than maybe anyone, the painful waiting of like drawing this slow, you know, and like there's no way to speed it up. If I could win the lottery and like just, you know, work on it full time, it would be a lot sooner. But I do what I can. But I really, it's evenings and weekends have been drawing the new comic with some, not to trigger Squatchy, some small breaks for Elden Ring. One of the best video games I've played in forever. I'm just once in a while. You need to take breaks, Squatch. All work and no play, McJackadole boy. Like you need to once in a while. All Hollywood. That's funny. On the podcast. That's me. That's me. All Hollywood. On every podcast. Yeah, all of them.
That's funny.
1 hour of my time, Squatch.
What about you, Jason?
We got Fallbreaker Studios. I haven't been posting much on my Instagram because I've just been busy. So I'm showing y'all, like, I really have been working quite a bit. Like I got a book with a bunch of short stories that's going to be out. That's going to be printed very soon. Like maybe in a weekend or 2. Like there will be like a physical thing that exists, and it'll have like ransom notes on it, and that's very, very important. But I'm very excited. So stay tuned to Fallbreaker Studios. This does lead into something a little bit bigger, and I'm kind of almost trying to shoot for using this as a platform to get that part out. So Ransom Notes is taking shape, and it's real horror, guys. Like I can't wait to share more with you guys. So stay tuned to Instagram and TikTok, Fallbreaker Studios.
Awesome.
And Ronnie, how about the man himself? What's going on?
Yeah, you know, I'm definitely shooting for, you know, this year to definitely have the whole issue for issue 1 of A Vengeful Heart to be out.
Wow, very nice.
So that's okay. And just, you know, I'm waiting on for some other independent creators to give me their headshots so I could, you know, do a little bit more with the upcoming episode. This one, you know, it's going a little bit slow, but, you know, when you're doing scenes with a lot of landscaping shots and stuff like that and building like cities and stuff, it could get challenging, but, you know, just you gotta find ways to make it look nice. And just, I've been enjoying the way it's been going.
Yeah, you can really run into like the page I'm working on right now. My rate was going great until I hit this page, and it's because I've got 4 different people on the page. Like, you know, it's like a group of people having a conversation, and that's just a nightmare to draw. Like, I mean, nothing's harder than drawing, you know, like people, like people well, and especially like a group of people and recognizable people. I'm doing cameos, you know, so like, you know, you want it so people look at them and know like who they're looking at, you know, and you get like, I'm not just trying to like, it's somebody, you know, like you want, so it's, you know, you want to get it right. And so it's slowing, like I'm dying to get done with this page. I like how it's turning out. It's getting there. But holy shit, I want to move past it. Like I want to like.
It's like one scene I'll show, or one page I'll show. This isn't like the horror comic aspect of it, but like, you know, the fantasy part, because it has like, you know, horror fantasy. You have a whole world of like monsters, humans, and whatnot. But this was really fun to work on, so I'll show this page. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see. That was fun to do.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
You know, with the whole like supernatural Native American stuff, with like him meditating with the smoke, and then you just see this like, you know, great Native American eagle spirit, and then what happens beyond that is going to be fun. I'm not going to go into it for the audience because I want the audience to look forward to reading it, but I'll probably talk about it a little bit after the show. But yeah, it's just really fun, especially the bottom part with the spirit, trying to make it like very like illuminating with the colors.
It has like
but the bottom part, like with the black silhouette trees, that took a little bit because just trying to make all the trees look different.
You know, I think like I'm really impressed how I feel like you're getting better and better as you do it. You know, like I'm seeing like it was always fun and great, but like like I feel like as you're doing it, like I'm really appreciating, like I feel like you're getting more ambitious with your composition and your detail and stuff like that. It's really looking good.
Thank you. And I appreciate that from the both of you. But you know, that's just the thing, especially being a comic book artist, you guys, for any of the audience out there, not just with mine, but pick up Gary's books or look at Jason's work. You always have to think outside the box, especially if you want to grow as a creator. And you can't always have the same old like headshots. So, you know,
you got to figure out how to keep it visually interesting. I saw Squatch mention that I was on 3 pages of his comic, which is true. And now this is a ways off, but the next D versus M, the one once I finish this one, right now I'm looking at more cameos with Mr. Alexander right over there. I'm hoping, or no, that's the one after the next one. Oh no, he's going to hold out even longer. But Squatchy, I'm hoping, is going to make an appearance in the next comic. Not the one I'm working on now, but the next one. I think you might see a soldier character with the surname of Losner that might show up. If Squatchy is still speaking to me, if Squatchy is allowing the fact that, you know, that sometimes drawing takes a while. What can you do?
Right.
You know, quality takes time, Squatch. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm not cranking out fucking Wolverine comics here. Like, I'm trying to do something different. I'm trying to push the boundaries, man. I'm trying to push the genre. It takes time. That's right, 2030. No, Squatch, if all goes well, I will be approaching you early in 2023 to get some reference pictures of you for your cameo in D versus M Part 4.
Nice. All right, well, I think I got it all there, guys. I mean, appreciate it. You know, the last 2 weeks, you know, me and Jason, we both had things that we had to take care of, but you know, sometimes that happens. But in the meantime, got some new followers. Appreciate that. I wish Twitch wouldn't be this way, but it is. Apparently, unless you're a Twitch affiliate, a lot of your videos aren't saved. So even though right now we're live on Twitch, a lot of the times the videos don't get saved over there, so
it'll just go away when.
Yeah,
well, you can always find it on YouTube. That's
exactly.
Yeah.
But I was on Twitch today, like just roaming around looking at other people's channels and was carrying on some conversations. So I got some Twitch people to come over from there to sub here. So that's cool. So
that's
appreciate
cool.
those people.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great.
But hope you all have a great night, and we'll see y'all next week. Bye.
Good.
Good night, everyone.